The echo of Uncle Harlan's voice thundered through the polished oak-paneled hallway of our family's historic Back Bay brownstone. His fist clenched as he snarled, "Hand over the keys, Emily. This charade ends now." He had no inkling that I'd already inked the deal to dismantle the very foundation of his world, selling off the crown jewel of the Whittaker legacy just that morning. At 28, I never thought I'd be the one to wield the blade against the blood that raised me. But there I stood, Emily Whittaker, heart pounding like a war drum in my chest, the weight of 2 decades of swallowed pain pressing down. The air hung heavy with the polish of antique furniture and the faint bitterness of his aftershave, a scent that always signaled trouble brewing beneath his polished facade. Harlan Whittaker towered there, his custom-tailored suit straining against his broad shoulders, eyes narrowed like a predator cornered in his own den. Behind him, my cousins Lena and Victor lingered in the archway to the drawing room, their faces masks of calculated neutrality, but I could feel their anticipation crackling like static. The grandfather clock in the corner ticked relentlessly, each second amplifying the silence that had defined my role in this family, an outsider in my own bloodline ever since father's passing. "The keys, Emily," he repeated, his voice dropping to that gravelly whisper he reserved for closing multi-million-dollar deals or crushing dissent. "Your father entrusted you with them out of some misguided sentiment. But we both know you're not equipped to handle this. For the family's sake. For the family's sake." Those words twisted in my gut like a knife. A phrase I'd heard 1,000 times growing up. Always code for protecting the Whittaker real estate empire at any cost, communities be damned. I reached into my bag, fingers brushing the crisp edges of the notarized sale contract instead of the antique brass keys he craved. No, those were tucked away in Father's old safe upstairs, behind the faded portrait of our great-grandfather. But they were irrelevant now. "I don't have them with me," I said, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside. It was the truth, in a way, but the lie beneath it burned like acid. Lena stepped forward then, her designer heels clicking softly on the marble floor, her smile as artificial as the pearls around her neck. "Emily, honey, we're just worried about you. Ever since you finished that degree in public policy, you've been distant, overwhelmed. Let us help lighten the load." Her concern rang hollow, a performance honed from years of boardroom negotiations and society galas. Victor nodded in agreement, his arms crossed, blocking the path to the front door like a silent enforcer. Aunt Vivian emerged from the library doorway, her phone still in hand from whatever urgent calls she'd been making all morning. "Harlan, the attorneys are ready in the study," she announced, her voice clipped and efficient, as if this were just another merger. Attorneys. On a quiet Sunday afternoon. Harlan's lips curled into a smirk that didn't reach his eyes. "Excellent. Emily, join us. We're formalizing the future of your father's holdings. It's time you understood your place in all this." The ambush was textbook Whittaker coordinated, relentless, designed to corner me before I could react. 3 months earlier, I might have crumbled under the pressure. But that was before I'd uncovered the toxic underbelly of our family's fortune, the rigged safety inspections, the silenced whistleblowers, the neighborhoods left choking on chemical runoff from our industrial parks while we sipped champagne in penthouses. "Of course," I replied, forcing a nod. "But my lawyer should be here soon. I texted her when I saw your cars pull up." Harlan's jaw clenched, a vein pulsing in his temple. "This is family business, Emily. No outsiders." I gestured toward the study, where 2 suited men rifled through documents on Father's mahogany desk. "Looks like you've already invited some." Victor tried to defuse it, his voice smooth like the venture capitalist he was. "Come on, Em. Your whole eco-warrior phase, the rallies, The petitions, it's admirable. But it's putting everything at risk. Father wouldn't want that. Invoking my father, Thomas Whitaker, sent a fresh wave of fury through me. They had no right. Not after what they'd done to him. Twisting his vision of responsible growth into a machine of greed and destruction. You're right, I said softly, watching their postures relax just a fraction. Father would be ashamed. But not of me. The air thickened, charged with unspoken accusations. Through the bay windows, the manicured garden mocked me, mother's rose bushes blooming obliviously. The stone bench where father had once confided his doubts about the family's direction. This house wasn't just brick and mortar, it was a vault of memories. From holiday feasts to whispered bedtime stories. But memories couldn't erase the betrayal. The way they'd eroded his spirit until the heart disease claimed him far too soon. Let's head to the study, Harlan suggested, his hand hovering near my arm as if to steer me. I pulled away. I need something from upstairs first. 5 minutes. 5 minutes, he growled, motioning to Victor. Go with her. As I ascended the sweeping staircase, Victor trailing like a shadow. My fingers grazed the banister I'd gripped during childhood games. Back then, family meant safety, not suffocation. In 5 minutes, they'd learn the cost of their schemes. But first, I had to play my part, letting the pain fuel every calculated step. Being a Whitaker meant inheriting not just wealth, but a web of obligations that strangled like ivy on old stone. Our Back Bay home had stood for generations, each adding to the empire's gleam while burying more rot beneath. Father took me to his office at Whitaker Properties when I was 10, pointing to the Boston skyline and saying, Emily, we'll build a better world together. He was gone by my 18th birthday. His heart giving out after years of stress he never fully explained. The fortune started with great-grandfather's factories, grew through grandfather's land deals, and ballooned under father and Harlan's aggressive expansions. By my birth, we weren't rich, we were untouchable. Our name etched on museum wings and hospital wards. But I never fit the mold. While Lena and Victor chased MBAs and alliances with other elite families, I pursued public policy at Harvard, questioning the human cost of our progress. It began innocently, skipping fur coats at galas, probing project impacts at dinners, interning at the Sierra Club instead of the family firm. Your idealistic streak will fade, Aunt Vivian would coo, dismissing me like a phase. Father was different, pulling me aside in his study, challenge it all. Emily, especially us. He taught me the business not to conform, but to reform. We need a conscience in this family, he'd say, words that haunted me after his death. The heart attack struck fast, diagnosis to grave in 4 months. Grief blinded me to the power shifts. Harlan sliding into father's role like he'd been waiting. At 21, accessing my trust revealed the will, a 30% stake in the properties, fully mine post-graduation. But laced with traps, if I proved unfit or acted against family interests, it reverted to Harlan's control. Trouble brewed my senior year, joining protests against a Whitaker warehouse project displacing a Dorchester community. I didn't connect the dots until Harlan's face flashed on the news, decrying naive agitators. Thanksgiving brought the confrontation. You're tarnishing our name, Lena sneered, her engagement ring from a tech heir sparkling mockingly. Harlan was blunt, honor the legacy. Or we'll question your capacity. I dismissed it as bluster, believing blood bonds unbreakable. Until the Lowell file surfaced. Searching for old photos in Harlan's office, I knocked over a drawer, 2 versions of a site report, the draft exposing chemical leaks and worker hazards. The final one scrubbed clean. My phone captured it all. This wasn't ambition, it was felony. Endangering lives for profit. Confronting Harlan privately, His response iced my veins. Your father played the game until he cracked. Don't repeat his error. That's when I realized father's crack was his awakening, one that hastened his end. They circled after that, barring me from meetings, logging my instability, activism as extremism, grief as fragility. They built a dossier to invoke the will's clauses. Every interaction a minefield. But father had allies, former colleagues uneasy with the shift, staff loyal to his era, and crucially, Elena Vasquez, his ex-partner who'd exited rather than compromise. Thomas was compiling proof, she told me over tea 5 months back. He planned to overhaul it all. But illness won. He said you'd finish it. The trap crystallized post-graduation. Their sudden thaw Harlan's calls. Lena's gifts should have screamed warning. Let's discuss your stake at the Nantucket house, Vivian proposed, framing it as honoring father. The seaside estate was our summer sanctuary, evoking carefree days. I nearly skipped it. But Elena urged, uncover their plot. She connected me with Mia Reyes, a sharp estate attorney who'd advised father. The competency clause expires 6 months post-grad, Mia explained. They're racing the clock. The weekend feigned normalcy, beach walks, barbecues, but their probes into my stress betrayed the act. Saturday night. After wine. The papers emerged. Routine restructuring, Harlan claimed. Tabs flagging signatures. Buried deep, I'd forfeit my stake for a piddling annuity. My lawyer reviews first, I said. The chill was instant. Family doesn't need lawyers, Victor snapped. I countered, like the Lowell site's faked reports? Silence exploded into accusations, hypocrite, ungrateful. Harlan laid bare, sign or face conservatorship. We've got psychiatrists lined up for your delusions. That night, their murmurs through walls sealed it, plotting my commitment. Dismissing evidence as madness. Recording it all. I slipped out. Overhearing more, admissions of bribes. Cover-ups. Even father's convenient despair over their crimes. He hadn't fought his illness because they'd shattered his soul first. By dawn, I'd fled, armed with proof. The reckoning built from there, Mia's filings, Elena's backups, anonymous tips to regulators. Back in the brownstone. Victor hovering. I retrieve not keys, but resolve. Downstairs. As they pressured. My phone buzzed, sale pending. You've won nothing, Harlan would soon learn. The price of silence? Their downfall.